Hi, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning for this last closing Thank you for joining us for this closing session of SupTech Week. We'll be together for about 25 minutes to land the plane, which is always pretty challenging to do it smoothly after there is so much. It started as a small charter, and I think right now we have an Airbus that has been flying with so many people on board for the last 5 days. And we'll do this with an outlook on next year, what to expect, and some of the key takeaways, both from the in-person and online sessions at SupTech Week. So as we wrap up, we'll be joined, I'm joined here by Propson, our partner with the World Economic Forum, and by Francisco Duque, the Deputy Director of Supervisory Methodologies and Corporate Governance at the Superintendencia Financiera de Colombia. And we're trying to resolve a couple of hiccups on the background. Maryam Haghighi, the Director of Enterprise Data Science and Insight of Bank of Canada, should also be with us soon. So together we will reflect really on some of the key insights and action points from this week and how we can take this forward to accelerate SupTech together, particularly through collaborative efforts that will drive further innovation in financial supervision. And we will discuss some of the takeaways, priorities, and some of the also the ongoing challenges that have emerged in this field through the conversations of last week. Drew, over to you.
Thank you, and a very warm welcome as well from my end to all online here. It's really just been, over the full week, such a pleasure to be with all of you online, as well as for those who were able to join us here in person in New York. So thanks so much for all the great energy that we've seen throughout the week, and hopefully we're looking forward to having it continue through the next year. So before we move along in this conversation, I did want to share a few stats with everyone from both the online portion, and then we'll talk a little bit about the in-person. But online, we've had over 25 hours of live content. We've had 1,000 plus attendees. I think it ended up being around 1,300 in the end here, from 140 different countries who've joined us online. People have spent an average of about 2 hours and 40 minutes, which is the equivalent of around 4 sessions each. And we have had 160 plus speakers from plus, I think, over 20 in person. And then these individuals have all been from around 50 countries. So 50 plus participants also in the AI Bootcamp. We have seen the launch of the SupTech Industry Group. We've had 4 winning API innovation hackathon teams with solutions in really a broad range. They focused on themes such as social engineering tracking, detecting fake URLs and altering and alerting customers, classifying and scoring bank customers along with transcripts of complaints and sales calls to detect mis-selling practices. Third, we've seen APIs that standardize and integrate liquidity risk data with environmental metrics like carbon footprints and geopositioning. And lastly, leveraging IMF's climate finance data to innovate on tools and APIs that reshape how we track, manage, and invest in sustainable development. So also as a reminder, all recordings from our online components here will be available online on at the Cambridge SupTech website, on the lab website, as well as on the lab YouTube channel. There's also a bonus session that you can all watch that we recorded in person on Tuesday afternoon here in New York, entitled Advancing RegTech and SupTech for a Stronger, Safer Financial System, which was moderated by CNBC. And speakers were from SBS Peru, Bank of Namibia, and BNY Mellon. So please do check that out, either on the SupTech Week website within AirMeet, or else again on the YouTube channel. So thank you, Simone. I'm happy to pass back over to you for some stats on the in-person side.
Thank you, Drew. So indeed, while the online continue to go, and I'm incredibly impressed, like not only by the number of participants, but the fact that so many spent hours and hours on the online interacting through the sessions. There was also a number of panels and sessions and roundtables here in New York where we were were joined by 100 attendees representing 15 agencies around the world, as well as financial institutions, vendors, and some of the ecosystem partners that really came together to share experiences and to share assets, in terms of demos, in terms of schemas, in terms of like things that can be shared to accelerate this journey and to shape the collaboration for the year to come. So Francisco was there and will help us to create this bridge between the online experience and the in-person work that was done Tuesday through Thursday here in New York. But before then, I would just want to take a minute to really repeat my gratitude, our gratitude for so many of the people who have contributed to this. And so in particularly for the in-person to the World Economic Forum and all the team and the staff of the World Economic Forum who hosted us on the event on Wednesday, to the Accenture management and team who hosted us on Tuesday evening at the Digital Hub, to Meyer Brown, who was our host for Digital Consumer Protection Day on Wednesday, and to the New York State Department of Financial Services, who had a group of supervisors there for a peer exchange on digital assets, crypto and stablecoin supervision on Thursday. So thank you so much to all of you, and thank you so to the session leads for the online. So this year, really, some of our partners took the responsibility to shape some of the sessions, and so my gratitude goes to AIR, to the Arab Monetary Fund, the Asian Development Bank, the BIS Innovation Hub, the CGAP, the Central Bank in the Netherlands, and the Free University of Amsterdam, to the UI and the EU Supervisory Digital Finance Academy, FCA and the FinTech Scotland, the Insurance Superintendency of the Dominican Republic, Integral Data Governance Solutions, the Inter-American Development Bank, the La Trobe University, Starling Trust, Toronto Center, and Women in Regulatory Innovation. I'm incredibly proud of the fact that so many of these ecosystem members have come together this week to create value, provide value to this community of supervisors, technologists who are accelerating the digital transformation of financial supervision together. And so with this, Maryam, thank you so much for joining us. Francisco, thank you for joining us today. I would like to use the next 50 minutes to really bring you in with your experience, with your leadership, to both connect the online and in-person events from this week, and also have an outlook. What's coming next? There are some super interesting projects that we will quickly touch upon to start touching on the agenda of the next months, probably of the next years, based on what I expect to hear. First of all, Francisco, if I may bring you in, you were here in New York with so many of your colleagues and some other experts for the in-person sessions. What are your main key takeaways from the SupTech convenings in person?
Thank you, Simone. Thank you for the invitation. I believe that is a great opportunity to share experience with another supervisors. That is a great opportunity to have on the first hand the insights that worry to the other supervisors and the thing that they are working, because this is important to know and to understand what are they doing, the other supervisors in the world. For me, the principal main topics or takeaways of I have to this week is the idea that the other supervisors have continued working in SupTech, and they want to continue improve this kind of tools. The first is when we talk with the other supervisor is understand that the worries that I have or the other supervisors in Latin America have are similar. It's not important if you are in India or, for example, if you are in Canada or if you are in Asia, because all of the supervisors want to improve our way to work with the new tool or with the new tools of supervision. For example, the first point is collaboration, how to understand the work that other supervision are doing, and how we can share the different experience and the different tools that we are making for our work. The other point is interoperability of the different tools that we are made. And more than interoperability is the idea to try to share the tools or how to escalate the different tools to use not the just one supervisor if it's possible to use with another supervisor. A lot of discussion about the software, about the open source, about the how to exchange data. For example, the idea to need the supervisory authorities across jurisdiction align different standard and knowledge is so important. The other important point is the inclusion and the consumer protection. The consumer protection is too relevant for all the authorities, and I believe that it's important to continue growing in the idea to made new tools that allow us or develop new tools that allow us to do the things well for the consumer for the consumer of the financial system. At the end of the day, all of this, the conclusion of this is we have a lot of work to do, but we are knowing a new way to do the things. We are in a process that implies to us develop a new way of things, the financial supervision, sorry, but at the end of the day, we can working in the same way as it is possible to continue sharing information, sharing experience, and sharing the new tools to continue growing this ecosystem. And that is most important thing that I take in this week.
Thank you so much, Francisco. Thank you for your leadership, your openness to share, and indeed, like sharing, collaboration, leveraging each other work is really why SupTech Week operates as a platform for the supervisors and the other partners to come together. So Maryam again is the Director of Enterprise Data Science and Insight at Bank of Canada. Maryam, thank you so much for joining us for this closing session. I wanted to ask you a couple of questions that I think are really gonna take us a little bit, quite a lot into the future. First of all, so the Bank of Canada has created a data science hub, and you were also the principal architect behind the Bank of Canada quantum strategy. So we heard through the result of the State of SupTech report and throughout the week how important strategies are. I think this is the first time we hear about the quantum strategy of a central bank. So I wanted to ask about both initiatives, the Data Science Hub and this strategy, how they intersect and how they're shaping the direction of Bank of Canada regarding SupTech and modernization.
Yes, excellent question. And thank you very much to the organizers for the invitation and this wonderful agenda of the SupTech Week. I'm going to share with you some of my own thoughts, and these don't necessarily represent the official views of the Bank of Canada. Now, in terms of strategies, as you mentioned, we have a data science hub, we have a ton of analytic work, and we're also looking into emerging technologies such as AI, but also quantum computing, their risks and their potentials for central banks and for the financial industry. And what I would say is that one of the strategic pillars of our work as a central bank is thinking ahead and having this idea of focused innovation. And you can actually see those in the strategic plan of the Bank of Canada online. And you see how those elements strategically would connect to the mandate of a central bank in terms of serving the interest of the public for going forward, because part of our role is to have this longer term future lens into the future of finance and banking. And that's where the connection is with supervision, because as you know, the world of finance is rapidly evolving. I was actually reflecting back to the agenda of the SupTech Week, and I would say that what really stood out for me is how I want to say like two words that both start with multi. So one is multidisciplinary work. So you have expertise from supervisory, from finance, from economics. You have expertise from IT, from data, from AI, from legal aspects, communication aspects. So this multidisciplinary expertise that's required now to achieve the goals we want to achieve in our organization. And the second multi word is multi-stakeholder. So when you're dealing with organizations that are sitting at this intersection of society with public, with the industry, with different jurisdictions. So that is what's required nowadays. And in our world, if you look at the world of supervision, you're getting into this area where there is this connection between the traditional banks that we used to supervise and we continue to supervise, of course, are getting more and more closer to the technology world. And the technology providers, some of them are getting a lot more involved in the world of finance and banking, and whether it's processing, digital transactions, and whatnot. So these worlds are connecting in very complex, intricate ways. And our role within the public sector and as regulatory organizations is, of course, to first really understand that, and second, minimize and mitigate risks and have the interest of public in mind. And that's why we're looking into these technologies from a strategic perspective.
Excellent. Thanks so much. Maryam, I have a follow-up question for you, and then Francisco, I'll come back to you for a last question there as well. Specific to AI and the work that you have been doing in terms of being responsible for the strategic vision there, what is really on the horizon for this year to come, 2025? What are your key priorities there?
Fantastic question. So one is definitely looking into further developing use cases of AI within our context in a responsible way. So that when I talk responsible way, so that would be based on the principles of ensuring privacy, assuring fairness, mitigating bias, assuring transparency, assuring explainability. So as policymakers, if you want to use AI, we have to also keep in mind that it can't be a black box. It needs to be AI methods that are explainable, that are interpretable. So developing responsibly in terms of use cases, gaining those promises of AI in terms of productivity and better insights, that's definitely on the agenda. And the other one that is a highlight for us is upskilling of the workforce, renewing of skill set of the workforce, various training opportunities, and what's needed in this context. And the third one I would say is to really serve as a voice, as a trusted voice within the organization for looking into the technologies that are being very rapidly released and keeping up with that pace and assessing its impact to our work and for the benefit of our stakeholders and the public.
Excellent. Very exciting. Sounds like a great year to come there. Francisco, speaking of priorities, I wanted to come to you as well and hear what are your key priorities or maybe your key priority for the new year. And then it's kind of a two-part question here. Also reflecting on this past year, what you would say you're maybe most proud of or your greatest achievement for this past year.
Okay, I believe for the next year, the first priority, the priority is continue to the journey. I believe that the achievement that I really proud of this year is consolidate a strategy about SupTech. But it's something like the discussion of the first day in New York. The strategy is important part of the SupTech journey, but it's necessary to continue uh, review the strategy and to continue update the strategy. And I believe this is the part of the next year. Is continue review the strategy, is continue consolidate the strategy, is continue working in different ways with the different people. It's necessary to explore partnerships with academic, technological institutions, develop new tools, open source tools that can be scaled into our jurisdiction because we are starting this journey and it's necessary to continue doing things that allow us to improve our experience and the experience of the supervisor. At the end of the day, the supervisors are the most important part of this because they are going to use these tools and they are going to develop the supervision with SupTech tool. It's necessary to talk with the industry and to continue working with with the financial industry because when we change our system, it's necessary that the industry understand what to do this kind of things, and it's necessary to talk a lot with our regulators because it's when we kind of apps or tools or SupTech started to work, it's necessary to change the regulation, to adapt the regulation to this kind of use of information, to exchange data, to exchange the different the change that and change the way to share information that is it's really important. I believe the next year is continue the journey, is improve our and update our strategy and start to do some new conversations about okay what to integrate climate related risks sustainable metrics into the new tools, how to integrate into the tools something new things like prospective information to prescriptive information and how to and the I believe the most important thing is how to explain to the supervisors the gains that they have with the use of the SupTech tools. Because, okay, if we are going to make new tools, if we are going to make an SupTech tools, it is necessary that supervisors understand the use of this SupTech tool and start to integrate this kind of tool in the day-to-day work, and that's necessary to change the mindset of the institution and to change the mindset of the financial sector entity because they are going to start to send the information and new information in another way, and it's necessary to the industry start to understand the new way of conversation because with new information, with new data, the conversation change. The conversation change to the emerging risks, the conversation change to the consumer protection with another point of view, and that's necessary to continue doing that. It's not just at the beginning, Simone said that for the 2025 for the 2 other years. I believe that is the start. This is a conversation. This kind of conversation just started. It just started the last few years, and it's continuing the next year. I believe. I don't know how many times, but I believe that's in the future. That it continue for many years.
Really love to hear that because I do see this as really just the beginning, and I think we're building some very nice momentum and would love to see this continuing as we move ahead. So Francisco, Maryam, thank you so much for your reflections here. In the spirit of reflecting, Simone and I have a couple of reflections for the full group here in terms of looking at what is coming up in the year ahead for both of our organizations. On the World Economic Forum side, we will certainly be giving a lot of thought to what we have heard and learned over this past week. And we're going to be looking at that in terms of building out our strategy for the year ahead. We have quite a few different initiatives as it relates to tech and innovation and financial services. A lot of these research-oriented, others are more knowledge exchange-oriented and encouraging dialogue between different jurisdictions. As we look at these technologies, we are going to be very heavily taking into consideration how we can wrap in components of the development of SupTech as well. So looking forward to staying in touch with many of you, both online and for those that I met in person this week. I also want to highlight that we are going to be continuing our collaboration with the SupTech Lab on the public-private secondments for SupTech innovation over this coming year. And we are extremely pleased and very grateful for this opportunity to work with such a strong and dynamic team. So thank you so much, Simone, and to your remarkable team for efforts thus far, and looking forward to continuing that. And I'm happy to pass over to you then to hear what's up for in this coming year for the lab.
Thank you so much, Drew, and we're really honored to be working together on these massive challenges and achievements that we, as an ecosystem, we are pursuing. So for the lab, Maryam mentioned upscaling. So the first thing that comes to my mind is definitely that in 2025, we will continue to offer our trainings online and in person, and the trainings are also already open for enrollment for this year. The Innovation Leaders Residency, Francisco was one of the innovation leaders in residency this year. We had 10 leaders from 10 different agencies around the world who engaged with us for the whole year, really to equip them, to empower them to be the agents of change in their agencies around the world. So that will continue, and we will continue with the technical assistance and application incubation. The next projects that we are going to tackle are in collaboration with the central banks in Namibia, Uganda, Morocco, and the Financial Conduct Authority in Indonesia. So that's a pretty great global agenda in terms of practical efforts to advance SupTech. And then there is really an effort to make the lab as much as possible a collaborative platform. So we will announce in January the creation of an advisory council. We are looking for to federalize the lab. So we're looking to create labs around the world in collaboration with other universities and with the supervisory agencies. So please, if you're interested, reach out. And really supporting also the SupTech industry group. So these vendors that have come together to accelerate the supply side of SupTech. We will work as secretariat for the SIG. Finally, what we are really working on, our focus is to create what we call the super platform. So bringing together in a digital transformation suite, all our tools and frameworks in a unique digital platform that supports collaboration and the sharing of data, of code and insights, run experiments, and accelerate deployments for supervisory agencies. So a busy year ahead of us. I'm glad we're going to have holidays in between. And I just want to remind everybody the recordings of the session will be available on the platform online through the Cambridge SupTech Lab website and our YouTube channel. And closing really with 4 keywords that Maryam and Francisco shared. SupTech is a multidisciplinary and a multi-stakeholder effort. Thank you, Maryam, for that. Absolutely. I think that sign also of the maturity that we're reaching. And Francisco, so many insights that point us in the direction of sharing and collaborating across different geographies, across different personas that we represent in this world, bringing all our expertise together. And so with this is it. Thank you so much to all the speakers, all the participants, to the amazing work of our team. Really, if I may, kudos to Christian Abuthan, Susu Smaili, and EDRH that led all the backstage, all the preparation for SupTech Week from our team. So thank you all, and hopefully see you next year. Thanks.
And